Welcome to our podcast. This is Pastor John from First Byron CRC, and today we're pleased to hear from Annie VanHouten about how she has been grappling with eating disorders. Welcome, Annie.
Thank you.
Can you tell us when did your journey with eating disorders begin?
It started about around 17 years old. I was in sports and I was in high school, and it was going to be my senior year. And I remember that summer, I decided to start throwing up my food. And it was, I thought, I don't even know why I started doing it. In fact, I didn't find out till years later about the trauma in my life. And so it was something that took over me, really fast, and it consumed my life. And I started to decline in health and sports. I had to drop out of college. That's to get my treatment. It had a lot to do with an image I wanted to keep, but yet do as I kind of please. And I took advantage of it really fast because it was an easy way to lose weight, but then it becomes a nightmare.
So you're in high school, playing sports, trying to look fit as you can.
Right.
And did you end up losing weight? And
yeah, I didn't lose a whole lot of weight because, and believe me, a lot of people, you don't really lose weight because you're usually consuming big amounts at a time and then throwing it out is what it is. And you're usually eating in secret, and everything's hidden, and it's very secretive.
And did you have a rock bottom moment in your life that you thought or you felt like, I really need to do something about this?
It was when I dropped out of college. I couldn't play sports anymore. I was so weak. I was trying to play college soccer and basketball, and I couldn't keep up anymore. It was killing me. I finally had to admit that I needed to find help.
And what was your weight, if I may ask you?
I was down to like 116, and normal for me is like 130. So.
And what kind of help did you pursue after you realized that?
Started with basic therapy, going to Pine Rest and seeing a counselor. And, but then I wasn't into it, and I was forced actually to do that part. It wasn't till, then I hit the rock bottom later. But that was first what I was trying was just regular therapy. And then we found a place called Bermuda, which is an inpatient clinic for girls with eating disorders.
Where is it?
It's in Arizona.
Oh, you had to drive long ways to.
So actually, I flew. Yeah, my best friend bought me my one-way ticket there, and she booked it for me and said, "You're doing it." So
you said that your first rock bottom moment was when you saw yourself dropping college or school, whatever. You said there's another one.
There's
moment.
Yeah,
there are more than one.
There's quite a few, and even my eating disorder is something that's tagged along with me my entire life since 17, and it's it can come back very vicious at times. And even 5 years ago, I was going through. In 3 years, I was admitted for suicidal reasons 3 times in 3 years, where I lost it.
And you're doing therapy back in the day when these things happened?
It was when I was just trying to do pretty much things on my own. I was taking normal, the medications I was supposed to take, but I kept hitting these huge bumps. Because it's like, that's what it's like. You're covering something up. It's gonna blow eventually.
Okay, so you went to this place, Can you tell me again?
Remuda.
Remuda
Mhm.
in Arizona,
Mm-hmm.
and you're doing therapy there. And tell me a little bit about the main factors that helped you out during your recovery.
That's a good question because I actually just thought about that this morning. I was thinking of the things that I most got out of and am still using to this day as help for is the art therapy I got there, the chapels and the singing, the horse therapy, and it was also the family week. Those were like the four things that still stand out to this day as big steps that I use.
Great.
Yeah.
Can you tell me like an example or so you mentioned some of these factors that helped you out. So the horse therapy,
Right.
being in touch with God's creation, right? Quite fascinating
Right. It is.
things, right?
It is because they give you this horse, and it's kind of your you have to take care of the horse. You have to feed it. You have to groom it. You learn how to ride it. You know.
Isn't that amazing?
It is. It is.
You think about a horse, right? Well, that's nice.
Right. Right.
I see horses all the time
Mhm.
in Byron Center.
And you can form a relationship with them, and it's
But we don't think about the benefits this
Mhm.
animals can give to us.
Right.
Just think, oh, this is an animal, we can ride on it and have fun. But yeah, so getting back in touch with God's creation through this
yes.
horse riding was one factor. You also mentioned the chapel, the singing. Can you give me something?
Yeah,
on
the
that?
worship music. To this day, like music, especially worship music. I'm actually a worship music leader now.
Really?
At my church, yeah. Like that's how much it drove me to love it. Like, and that's where I started praising God, and I started realizing, I just was out. I felt so alive when I was at the chapels, like, and I was being myself, and the people around me were all supportive, and it was a really cool environment.
Do you remember a moment where you're feeling down or downcast? You go to the chapel, start singing, praising the Lord, and all of a sudden you feel uplifted, and
Right, it can change you
that's the kind of
just like that, and that's why I feel like it was a very important part. Even though like sometimes I was like, there's times where I'd rather just slap through it, but but once but once you're there and you're worshiping, it feels really good. To this day, it feels really good.
yeah, from one tool that you benefited from. Now you're a worship leader.
Right.
So what a change.
Right.
What about you also mentioned the weekend with family? Is that
Yeah,
correct?
they did a family week, and it's about with 10 girls. Now that you just say that, I know you can't see this, but they can't see this, but this was family week. So it's a family. So how many families do you think there? This 1, 2, 3, 7 girls. So groups of 7 of girls you got to really, really know. You got to hear their entire stories, and their families were there with them, and it was just this. This is where my trauma came out for the first time, and I broke. I broke in a good way, and I finally told my parents about it, and it was just such a free feeling.
So what do you mean by family? Is that your family? They would come down?
My parents came down, so but most of either parents or siblings could come for this week, and they would be doing different stuff while we were doing our normal days, because we still had to be in the facility and stuff like that. But we got to meet and do our entire stories, and it's quite moving to hear 7 different girls' eating disorder stories and how different they are. It's crazy.
So as I'm hearing this weekend, family weekend, is a moment for you to listen to other people's stories, to see new people, to gather around over the same topic, and then basically open up.
Right. Like I still talk to some of these girls yet. So
beautiful.
Mm-hmm.
And people that you never seen before.
Right. You form these bonds really fast. Like, this is Meg, me and Meg. Like, she,
Yeah, there's some pictures here.
Yeah.
I will try to make.
I know.
Make sure
If you
these
can
pictures
take, you can.
share.
Yeah.
I'll be sharing with.
Those
you.
are. We did such fun stuff there. It wasn't like you're locked down. It's. Yeah, you can't flush your own toilet, but, I mean, we had so much fun doing this kind of stuff.
And would these people be volunteers or?
No, they were all like the girls were just other patients, and they weren't volunteer. It is a job. Like,
It's a job.
Mm-hmm.
Uh-huh. Good. Well, that tells there's a lot of factors that contribute to the recovery. Is there anything else among this cloud of elements that help you all to recover? Anything else would you say that, well, that really helped me too, besides family weekend, chapel, singing, the horse, writing, therapy?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and then the other big one was the art.
Oh, the art.
So, yeah.
And for those of you who are not here, she's a painter, so she brought a frame.
Yeah, I brought a piece.
A piece. Eventually, I will see that.
And I'll show you. You'll have to take a picture of one of these earlier pieces I did in '99, and how that evolved. And my journal writing used to be just words, like a saying, and now I'm doing these verses. I used to do these things like that were depressing, and now I'm painting things for God.
Uh-huh. And that somehow set you free.
And yeah.
God created you to be a creative person, right?
Yeah, he did.
Nice.
He did.
Yeah, we'll make sure to take some pictures here and
cool.
Post them. Another question that intrigues me when I hear stories like yours is, what are the habits you had to flee from and the other ones you had to learn along the way to maintain you in a state of health and sobriety? Let me put it this way.
Yeah, one would be the people I hung out with. I mean, I was hanging out with people who I could it's usually fake friends, pretty much. People you kind of get to know, and then they don't know who you are, so you could pull anything. They don't know what you're doing. You go out to eat with them. You can get away with anything type thing. So you form these relationships, and you form all these short-term relationships instead, and you kind of bounce around with people instead of having these genuine relationships like the ones I built in recovery.
So people you used to hang out with. Anything else had to flee from?
I had to forgive. That might be it. And flee from that pain that
the grudge that you carry.
Right. For a long time I did. But forgiving was an important part too.
Good. So you're also talking about the good habits that you have learned along the way. So besides forgiveness and basically taking all the junk out of your home, which is your body, your brain, your mind,
Mm-hmm.
what are the other good habits that, well, eventually you have to leave the therapy place, right? In
Mm-hmm.
Arizona. So on your way back, what are the habits you still carry with you that are fundamental or vital for you to keep healthy, maintain your relationship with the Lord, and good stewardship of your body?
A lot of it would be not being alone. I started, anytime I start to shut down or shut people out, I go to a very lonely spot, and that's a troubling spot to me. And So the habit is, to really force yourself to be with people and force yourself to get out there and be vulnerable.
Yeah, we're not meant to be on our own.
Right.
That's a good thing. Great habits to be always surrounded by people, living surrounded by good influence. What was God's role in your recovery? You mentioned the chapel, and now you also lead worship.
Mm-hmm.
What else can you say that, boy, that moment God was right there with me?
Ooh. Yeah. Well, get this. There was probably like a 10, 15-year phase where I left God, or tried to. And when he came back, it was so obvious to me that, like, the way he worked through some of my paintings, like I would paint this guitar with some worship song lyrics, and then the person I'd give it to, they'd have almost that same exact guitar, the color guitar that I just painted, but I had no idea, like, type thing. And same with giving another pastor a painting. He then ended up, he just named his church one, and we ended up using the same verse, but his was from Luke and mine was from Matthew or something like that. But it was like just showing up. Yeah, he gave me a talent, and he made it obvious that he was going to make me use it.
That's so beautiful. Yeah. Yeah, so God showed himself to you in multiple ways, but one of the ways was through art.
Mm-hmm.
And we definitely take that for granted, that through his creation, through the use of our gifts, God is right there. Because how can we do what we do without his
Right.
inspiration, without his help?
Right.
And tell me about one of these, besides, so I have the guitar and the one that with the verse. What was the one you brought here?
Oh, the one I brought here, it's like a chapel, and it's got a verse on it. And I just really wanted to give it to First Byron.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah, because it's another step in my journey. I'm always growing, and I just yeah. It's very important to me to get my feelings out there through my art.
It's a way that God helps you to empty yourself from the struggles, the things that are bothering you, and also a good way to fill yourself.
Yes.
With what God has in store or how he blesses you.
Yes. To think, I went from, using razor blades and cutting my legs, and to forming these beautiful, beautiful paintings that I look back and I go, I don't think I could do that again. Like, every time I'm like, whoa, are you sure that one's mine? Because they're from God.
That's good to hear. God works when we are in motion, when we are doing something, right? It's such a beautiful thing. Sometimes people believe, well, I'm waiting God to show up, right? He never shows up. But you're giving us a great testimony that, well, move out, do something.
Right.
Be creative. That God, he put on display who he is in such a easy and banal way, like it's daily life, right?
Right.
It's a great thing. Did you have a moment in your life that you thought, well, I went through this place in Arizona. Now I have some good habits that I'm keeping and nourishing. I have some bad things that I learned how to flee from. And have you thought, well, I think now I'm healed, or I know how to take care of this in a way that is sustaining?
Right. Yeah, a lot of that came it's when my self-worth just started to take place. Like, I had no self-value, and once I started realizing I'm a child of God, and how I'm an amazing person. That's funny to say. Like, even when I hear it that way, it's like it's telling yourself you're an amazing person. But I just mean it as like you have to believe it. I guess you have to.
And there's a passage in the book of Ephesians, chapter 2, that says we are God's masterpiece,
Right. I love that.
right?
Mm-hmm.
Which He created us for good works. The only way for us to do that is because we are special, right?
Right.
Don't ask the animal to paint a chapel. Paint there. We are unique, and
Mhm.
the Word of God tells us that, and basically have two options, right? To believe it or to deny it,
Right.
and to buy into what other
Right.
voices are telling you.
Yes.
Did you have to struggle with that a lot? Like, you have God's voice,
Mhm.
very crispy, clear.
Mm-hmm.
You're mine, you're my child, you're special, unique, you're worthy. And the other voice saying, you're nothing.
Right. And how
You're
that
just
one can.
empty.
Mm-hmm. You can focus.
Satan
on
does that.
one.
But also, because of our weaknesses, sometimes we say that to ourselves
Yes.
without even Satan's help.
Mm-hmm.
He gives a big nudge, but sometimes we are just there's a lot that goes through our hearts and minds, right? Did you have those moments, and how did you fight them? Like, when the voices come, you're nothing, you're not worthy, you never come through this, or
Yeah. A lot of that. Ooh, those are struggles, man. It's usually you either got to find another person and just tell them what you're feeling, because
to put it out, right?
get it out there, right? Because even if it's just yeah, because that's what I struggled with the most, is just talking. So a lot of it is turning to your talents too. I mean, I can just get lost in my talent sometimes, and it's such a good feeling, and it takes me away from anything Satan could try to do.
Good. What would you say to people, humans like we are, that are going through these struggles, eating disorders, or having no self-worth?
Mm-hmm.
What will be your message to them? Because as far as I'm concerned, what part of your recovery is get it out, find people, find help, and
Mm-hmm.
God set up people to help you. So what will be your message to those people who are seeking help and making very few progresses, or making no progress at all?
Right. Yeah, I just seen a thing where you saying how you can't do it alone. You just can't. And God didn't mean for us to do this alone. And for so long, I tried to not depend on anybody. And it really hurt me. It was when I gave that up, became more vulnerable, opened myself up to the Lord, the book, the Bible, His words, and they started healing me.
So imagine I am a girl. I'm not, but imagine struggling with eating disorders. I am, I don't know, trying to starve myself out,
Mm-hmm.
throwing up whatever I eat. What does God put in your mouth? Tell me. Maybe that's someone listening to this
Right.
episode.
Every person has a purpose, and the only way you're going to find it is by looking up and asking and going in that direction. Just push yourself to love Him. Push yourself to love the Lord, and you will grow. You'll grow in amazing ways.
Yeah, thank you. That's powerful. So do you know Fighting Free Ranch? Have you heard about it?
Yes, yes. It's going to be awesome. It's just the whole thing reminds me of what I kind of went through. So it's very thrilling.
You had to fly to Arizona to find help.
Right.
Now, with this ministry getting closer and closer to an opening, right? They're doing a lot of things, but they're building the facilities.
Mm-hmm.
What do you think is the relevance of a ministry like that in Michigan? As far as I'm concerned, there's nothing going on in Michigan, right? In this way.
Right. There's nothing like that around. Like, I remember, like, and there's waiting lists sometimes, it's like, come on, it's, there's not enough facilities around. And so knowing that we're going to have a local one, I had a friend who was on one of my basketball teams. She ended up going to the Arizona thing too. And it was so weird because then we became friends, later. But because it's a hard thing to say, I'm going to go across the country and do this, you gotta plan for that, something like this, you could walk through the door almost, a phone call away. And they're not going to do nothing.
Yeah, what a blessing to have that in the works.
Right.
Look forward to seeing this bearing fruit even more, and maybe people from all over the country, right?
Right.
Will come.
Right. It's going to help a lot of people.
Yeah. Now, my last question, and with that, we're at closing. What would be your message to parents? They are struggling with kids, especially girls, right?
Mm-hmm.
Undertaking, a lot of pain, and they cannot deal with themselves. What would be your message to these parents who have no idea what to do? If they're in Michigan,
right,
and fighting Frito Ranch, it's not there yet. The facilities are in the works. What can I do now if I'm in Michigan?
It's hard because when you're in a situation like that, you don't want any help, right? So you turn away from your parents and you deny everything. So I'm a parent, of a 12-year-old girl, and I'm starting to see, signs of she recognizes things. And so I'm almost in this situation now, and it's a tough place to be because you have to give up control. The only thing you can do really is make sure you're still connecting with your child and letting them know how much you love them, because they need to hear that no matter how old they are. I still like to hear it. I'm 43. So you need to still throw that love out, even if you don't agree with what's going on. Without your support, without a parent's support, it's an even harder road.
Yeah, hard to believe. How can you go through this, recover, without your parents' support? Especially moms, right?
Right.
Oh, moms are
right.
a gift from God. My mom is miles and miles away from Brazil, but she did a great job raising me, and the things that she did when I was a little kid, they still impact me, right?
Right,
and
right.
I believe for the moms who are hearing us right now, don't think there's nothing I can do. You can.
Right.
Annie just told us. Love.
Yeah.
Support.
Give them that confidence. Never take that away from them.
Thank you very much,
Yeah,
Annie.
you bet.
Last words you want to tell our church, our audience, those who are tuning in to this episode?
Just that it was a blessing to be able to actually share my story. It heals me more than as I continue to down in life.
We definitely appreciate you coming and taking your time to do that. And we're sure that God will use this story to bless other stories around us. Thank you so much.
You bet. Thank you.